Welcome to NewsNation, where left and right come to be reasonable. The American worker, the middle class, deserves a come up. They deserve some love. It is way past time. And if the president, with or without Congress, can make that happen, great. Now, that didn't happen today. What did happen is, as expected, just hours after Trump's global tariffs went into effect, the bond market tumbled, okay? And the right people panicked and went to Trump and said, if you don't stop this now, you're going to break something you can't fix yourself. And then Trump announced he's dropping the tariffs to 10% for 90 days for all trading partners except for China. And he's now raising their tariffs. He explained the move by blaming investors for being weak.
I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid. I did a 90-day pause for the people that didn't retaliate, because I told them, if you retaliate, we're going to double it. And that's what I did with China, because they did retaliate.
Be very clear. You can't tariff your way to a better situation. It's going to take more than that, okay? And again, the truth is, the president was told he was about to break something he would not be able to fix by himself, and he does not want to own a deep recession that he absolutely causes. And he got the message. But what happens next? We all know the adage, failing to plan is planning to fail. The tariffs are not part of a strategy, not really. They are a tactic, a stunt, really. And like most stunts, they are risky and have a limited shelf life. Now, I say this happened today as expected because I told you this was going to happen a week ago. Who believes that these tariffs are still in place a month from now? Well, I will bet both of you guys a bottle of whatever you like, okay? 1 month from today, these tariffs are not the way they are today. Happened faster, but it had to happen, okay? Now, look, I'm not celebrating this as a failure, and I don't think anybody should. I want better deals for this country. For us as consumers, I want to see the middle class get the love they deserve and be positioned to thrive in the new economy. Positioned to thrive in the new economy. I repeat it because that's what this is supposed to be about. Today did not do that. Now, I hear people celebrating the pause as if the president put out a fire for all of us. The problem is he started it. But don't make the mistake of believing the spin that this was all part of some plan. Of course, the stock market immediately shot up, 3,000 points when he announced the pause. Of course, it gave them certainty. But now they're just moving back to close to where they were before. All right? The real winners are Wall Street gamblers who love the volatility, and the rest of us just got a bad case of agita. So let's stay focused. What will Trump do to prepare workers for the new economy? Okay? Tariffs are only as good as the deals they yield. But what is that goal, and how do you get there? That's where my concern comes. The only thing the president has told us that resembles a plan is a frightening suggestion that he wants to take us back, not prepare us for the future. Listen to him.
Our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913, some genius came up with the idea of let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country.
The strongest, the Gilded Age, gilded meaning something covered in a thin layer of gold but lousy underneath, a term coined by Mark Twain as an insult of the times. Everything appeared golden for the wealthy, but the glamour of the few masked the misery of the many. The whole point is to close the gap between workers in suits. As bad as it is today, inequality in the Gilded Age was worse. Terrible working conditions, low wages, child labor, no collective bargaining. I wonder if the president yearns for that time because of his affinity for robber barons. the obscenely rich who were American royalty, J.P. Morgan, Rockefeller, Carnegie. Sure, the Gilded Age developed America's infrastructure like never before, okay? But just like today, it was built on the backs of a lot more than just current citizens. Poor Chinese, a slew of European immigrants were enticed then as now to come and work their asses off, dying and suffering in an adopted land. I hope the president sees that part of his favorite period, because he doesn't seem to realize we're short workers today as well, and he's doing more to get rid of potential than to build it. He says the Gilded Age was when we were strongest. I think it fails on 3 levels. First, how can you want to go back to a time when the races were separate but equal? Of Jim Crow, of women not being allowed to vote. He says tariffs were better than the income tax, but for whom? Tariffs are paid disproportionately, right? They're a regressive tax, meaning that the less money you have, the harder they hit you. So the middle class gets hit harder than the rich. Income tax is progressive, meaning you pay more as you make more. So which is better overall? Well, that revenue allowed America to create Social Security and a safety net, Medicaid, Medicare, that made us the envy of the world. That wasn't strong? The Gilded Age was not golden. The Golden Age was what? After World War II. Why? GDP per capita was higher. Why? We were integrated. We were pulling together. Labor was respected and protected. Industry didn't just exploit and go through bodies digging tunnels with sand hogs, but they were training people, okay, for mass production, the jobs of the day and the future. That's when we saw high growth, high wages, and a middle class that was expanding and dreaming of more and better. This is what we need to replicate. It does not have to be about antiquity. We did this under Clinton with a boost from Bush before him. The 90s with the tech economy. And we are on the precipice of a new economy once again. AI, high-tech factories. But only if we see what takes us forward, not some backward time with sweatshops. That's not what we want in a deal with China. They sent that AI ad, and I'm glad they did. China's okay relegating millions of their own to sewing bras and sneakers in sweatshops. We can do better. And that's what Trump seems to miss. China's real advantage isn't just allowing people to work for so little, like they were dogs. But China has invested for years in new economy jobs and training. Trump's thinking on tariffs is outdated, okay? He has always had a misplaced romanticism that what all of us want to do is dig coal and do jobs that kill us early. And we saw this in the first term in this excerpt between him and Gary Cohn. Remember him, his economic advisor? This was in Woodward's book, Fear. Here's the excerpt. Trump clung to an outdated view of America, locomotives, factories, huge smokestacks, workers busy on assembly lines. Cohn assembled every piece of economic data available to show that American workers did not aspire to work in assembly factories. Cohn tried to explain, I can sit in a nice office with air conditioning and a desk and or I can stand on my feet for 8 hours a day. Which one do you want to do? People don't want to stand in front of 2,000-degree blast furnaces. People don't want to go into coal mines and get black lung. Trump wasn't buying it. Several times, Cohn just asked the president, why do you have these views? I just do, Trump replied. I've had these views for 30 years. Well, it is time to grow and to change. This is not 30 years ago. This is not the Gilded Age. It is all about what you can make possible for tomorrow. Take what Tim Cook of Apple said about manufacturing in China. He explained that tariffs may make him move from China, but not to us. Why? Here's why.
There's a confusion about China. The popular conception is that companies come to China because of low labor cost. The truth is China stopped being the low labor cost country many years ago. And that is not the reason to come to China from a supply point of view. The reason is because of the skill. In the US, you could have a meeting of tooling engineers, and I'm not sure we could fill the room. In China, you could fill multiple football fields.
That should make you sick. It makes me sick. You can't tariff your way to getting those jobs. You have to invest. China not only has more cheap workers, they have even more skilled ones. They currently have 4 times more industrial engineers than we do. 40% of Chinese students STEM. Us, 20%. On top of all that, China is underwriting their high-tech manufacturing industry. If you build a high-tech plant in China, the government will subsidize the creation of the plant, essentially. That was the genius behind the CHIPS Act. Remember, bipartisan passage. When does that happen, especially under Biden? Would have prepared hundreds of thousands to make high-tech goods over the next decade. Trump wants to end it, and he wants to end the Infrastructure Act. Why? Political pettiness. If you want to help workers, you have to kill this dream of taking them back and find a plan to take them forward. Tariff if you want, but invest because you must. The American workers deserve it, and you promised it. You just put us through a circle of hell for nothing. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.